Hi, King Dan here. This video is called Family Fed Fiction, Cheon Seong Gyeong. So the Cheon Seong Gyeong is a book canonized by father, but there's actually two different versions of the book. There's the original version, which the English was published in 2006, and there's the modified version that was published after True Father passed away. So if we look at some quick information related to kind of some of the details, and this is coming straight out of a video from and published by Family Fed, you can see that the original Cheon Seong Gyeong is actually a lot bigger, right? There's 16 chapters versus 13. There's 82 sections versus 65, 442 subsections versus the 206 the new version has. And so overall, the original version is about 800 pages bigger, about 2,400 compared to 1,600. So again, this is just kind of a quick rundown that there's actually two textbooks out there with the same name. Here's a screenshot of the two textbooks. Obviously on the left side is the original version, and on the right side is the revised and enlarged. Wait, what? Oh, Koreans are good at math. Let's just put it that way. And so you have the revised edition on the right side. And, I get the appeal of having a smaller book. It took my family literally 7 years to read the original book. So, how many times are you going to do that in your lifetime if you also want to read the other textbooks and speeches by father? However, it is a classic example of textbook relativism, where as soon as you change it once, then you can change it continuously, and you actually debase yourself from the original standard. There's actually father's words that have gone missing, that have been extracted out of not only the Cheon Seong Gyeong, which is where here it was originally in, but it's not even inside the other two of the three holy scriptures, or whatever Hak Ja Han wants to call them. So here it is. Through 2,000 years of Christianity, God made the second advent of the Lord possible. If, immediately after World War II, I could have stood on the victorious foundation of Christianity and the United States based on the Christian cultural sphere, would I have undergone hardships? If they had accepted me in those days, then who would have been mother? If Sungyeol's mother had been unable to take that position, who would have replaced her? It would have been a British woman. As seen from God's will, it would have been a woman from Great Britain. The British royal family would have made a connection with me. Doesn't that belong to the realm of the Christian sphere? Britain gave birth to America. There was symbolic significance to Korean President Ri Sung-man marrying a Western woman. Ultimately, due to the opposition of Christianity, Mother gained this blessing. I actually heard about this speech back in 2012 in Cheonpyeong, of all places, and that was the summer True Father passed away, and it was also a time period when a committee was set up by Hak Ja Han that was going through and changing the Cheon Seong Gyeong, or reviewing it, before father had even passed away. Only Hak Ja Han actually knows why she and the others around her chose to pull this out, but when you understand what this is saying, you can understand it's really easy to see that it directly contradicts what Mother is saying publicly, that she's the only begotten daughter, she wasn't born with original sin, and that all of Christianity has been waiting for her divine birth, which is ridiculous. It's the same as the Catholic Church focusing on Mother Mary versus the divinity of Christ. Anyway, this speech is really interesting because it directly contradicts the revised history that Hak Ja Han has been promoting, and it's talking about how if Christianity had accepted father, then who would have become true mother at that time, right? So if Sunjin's mother had been unable to take the position, who would have replaced her? So there's an implied thinking here that Sunjin's mother, which is True Father's son with his first wife, right? Sunjin is the son of True Father, and True Father was married to a woman named Sun Il Cho. So he's saying, if this woman could not have been true mother, who at that time could have been true mother. Now it's interesting. Hak Shahan was 3 years old at this time. Okay, gotta keep this in perspective. So father's thinking about true mother, thinking about, okay, number one, there's this Cho lady, and then, however, if you read this next paragraph, he's saying, oh, it would have been a British woman if the Cho lady didn't work out either. So this completely disrupts this idea that Hak Shahan is the only person. Now, in the last sentence, it does say, ultimately, due to the opposition of Christianity, true mother gained this position. And it is talking about Hak Shahan fulfilling the role of true mother at that time. I don't know anybody that is denying the fact that Hak Shahan is and was true mother all the way until the very, very end of true father's lifetime. But why would Hak Shahan even reportedly have pallets full of the original textbook destroyed for the new version, and the new version would not want to have even the selection of her position? This is an amazingly honorable position of true mother, the restored Eve over humanity. Nobody can touch this. This is a speech from Father, or an excerpt from a speech from Father. The words of Reverend Moon of the Unification Church, the Cheon Seong Gyeong, nobody can touch this. If you go to heaven, and then you say to Reverend Moon, this content was lacking, then I would reply, oh, okay, and let it go. That's why, as an exercise, I am leaving behind a secret code here and there without anyone's knowledge. There's something people don't know about. There's lots of other little excerpts I could have chosen, and there's more and more being uncovered as people translate the speeches in Father's later lifetime. But I chose this one simply because it's showing that even if you go to the spiritual world, people will be complaining of this form or that form to Father and saying something was wrong with the Cheon Seong Gyeong. There's whatever complaint or justification there was. But in the spiritual world, Father will just blow you off, whatever it is. It's also interesting for me to read where he's talking about there's a secret code here and there that he left behind with no one's knowledge. This is material in the Cheon Seong Gyeong, but how are we ever supposed to uncover or package and discover this if the Cheon Seong Gyeong's been changed when he said nobody can touch this? It's impossible for me to cover every single one of the justifications that people use defending the new Cheon Seong Gyeong. It ultimately comes down to a justified ignorance, sometimes true ignorance, but many times behind the source of all this is a demonic spiritual reality. It was a reduction project. It fixed many errors that were found. Newer words from Father were added. Repetitions were removed. Father's desire was fulfilled. It was done with his approval. Now there's a yin-yang version of the textbooks, one directly from Father, one approved by Hak Shahan. Hak Shahan is united with true Father. True parents are one. There's so many good people in Family Fed. How can it possibly be wrong? I trust something, fill in the blank here, more than I trust Christ. And I'm happy to be ignorant or in denial. Each and every one of these justifications can be proved invalid when you actually look at Father's words, particularly from the context of biblical providence. So I'll just do one. It was a reduction project. That's true. The Family Fed video even mentions it, and it says that it's a reduction project that Father started back in 1992, I think is when it said. But Father himself was doing the reduction project, not other people on his behalf. And it was Father that spent years and years going through all these speeches, reducing it, and then finally canonizing not just the Cheon Seong Gyeong, but also the 8 great textbooks. So it's like somehow they're giving themselves permission. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what kind of excuse it is. It's just textbook relativism, pun intended.